Guatemala is not merely a destination on a map. It is a primal sensory experience. To step into its borders is to leave behind the sanitized predictability of the modern world and enter a realm where the earth is still in the process of being born. Known as the land of eternal spring, this Central American gem is a mosaic of hyper-diverse ecosystems, ranging from the scorched black sands of the Pacific coast to the mist-shrouded peaks of the Cuchumatanes mountains. It is a place where nature is both a sanctuary and a force of devastating power. Here, the biodiversity is so dense that every square mile feels like a living laboratory of evolution. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth, blooming jasmine, and the distant sulfurous breath of active volcanoes. This text serves as a deep immersion into the natural wonders of Guatemala, exploring the geological ferocity, the botanical richness, and the avian wonders that define this vibrant landscape. The spine of Guatemala is formed by the Sierra Madre Range, a tectonic battlefield where the Caribbean and Cocos plates collide. This geological friction has birthed a chain of over 30 volcanoes that dominate the Western Highlands. These are not merely mountains, they are the fire giants that dictate the rhythm of life for everything in their shadow. The most iconic of these is Volcán de Fuego, one of the most consistently active volcanoes on the planet. To witness fuego at night is to see the planet's internal clock ticking. It frequently ejects incandescent rock and plumes of ash that paint the sky in shades of bruised purple and charcoal. Its neighbor, Acatenango, offers a stark contrast. A silent, towering guardian that provides the perfect vantage point to observe the raw, terrifying beauty of its erupting twin. The climb up Acatenango is a vertical journey through ecological time. At the base, one walks through fields of corn and high-altitude coffee, where the soil is a rich, dark loam fertilized by millennia of volcanic fallout. As the altitude increases, the tropical heat fades, replaced by the temperate coolness of cypress and oak forests. Eventually, even these hardy trees give way to the alpine tundra, where only the most resilient grasses and the occasional pagonal shrub can survive the freezing nights and thin air. Further west lies Santa Maria, and its volatile offspring, Santiaguito. The latter is a lava dome complex that has been in a state of constant eruption since 1922. The landscape here is lunar and surreal, characterized by pyroclastic flows and massive deposits of gray ash that give the surrounding valleys an eerie, hushed atmosphere. Yet even in this scorched earth, life finds a foothold. The volcanic ash is incredibly rich in minerals, and once it cools, it supports some of the most productive ecosystems in the tropics. This cycle of destruction and rebirth is the fundamental law of the Guatemalan highlands. Deep within the volcanic highlands lies a feature so sublime that it has been called the most beautiful lake in the world. Lake Atitlan formed approximately 84,000 years ago during the Los Chocollos eruption, an event so massive its ash reached as far as Florida. The lake is a massive caldera filled with crystalline water. It is a closed basin, nearly 340 meters deep, surrounded by three majestic volcanoes, Atitlan, Toliman, and San Pedro. The ecology of the lake is a delicate balance of high-altitude aquatic systems. The water changes color throughout the day, shifting from a bright, glassy turquoise in the morning to a deep, brooding indigo in the late afternoon. When the Zocomil wind begins to blow, the Zocomil is a unique meteorological phenomenon where warm air from the Pacific coast rushes up into the highlands, clashing with the cooler mountain air to create sudden, turbulent waves. The shores of Atitlan are a haven for botanical diversity. The verticality of the terrain means that within a few kilometers, one can move from humid lakeside gardens filled with hibiscus and bougainvillea to dry, pine oak forests on the upper ridges. These forests are vital for the local water cycle, acting as giant sponges that capture the moisture from passing clouds. However, the lake's ecosystem is also a cautionary tale of environmental fragility. The introduction of non-native species, like the black bass in the mid-20th century, led to the extinction of the Atitlan grebe. a flightless bird that existed nowhere else on Earth. Today, conservation efforts are underway to protect the remaining native flora and fauna, including the majestic hummingbirds that dart among the wildflowers and the elusive pavo de cacho, horned guan, that inhabits the cloud forests above the lake. To the north and east of the volcanic belt lies the region of the Verapicus, a land characterized by limestone karst topography and the ethereal beauty of the cloud forest. Unlike the dry forests of the south, the Verapices are perpetually damp, cloaked in a chipi-chipi, a fine, persistent mist that nourishes one of the most biodiverse habitats on the planet. This is the domain of the Biotopo del Quetzal. The cloud forest here is a vertical garden. Every branch of every oak and mahogany tree is heavy with epiphytes. Orchids, bromeliads, ferns, and mosses grow in such abundance that the actual bark of the trees is rarely visible. Guatemala is home to over 1,000 species of orchids, including the national flower, the Monja Blanca, Lycoste skinneri alba. This rare white orchid thrives in the cool, humid shade of the canopy, symbolizing the purity and delicacy of this environment. The undisputed king of this misty realm is the resplendent quetzal. To see a quetzal in flight is to see a relic of ancient mythology. With its iridescent emerald plumage, crimson breast, and twin tail feathers that can reach a meter in length, it was considered sacred by the Maya, who associated it with the god Quetzalcoatl. The bird's survival is inextricably linked to the health of the cloud forest, specifically the wild avocado trees, aguacatillos, whose fruit it relies upon. The forest floor is equally fascinating, inhabited by exotic amphibians like the various species of moss frogs and the cryptic salamanders that hide beneath fallen logs. The soundscape of the cloud forest is a haunting melody of dripping water, the distant call of the highland guan, and the occasional rustle of a Baird's tapir moving through the undergrowth. Deep in the heart of the Alta Verapaz department lies one of nature's most improbable architectural feats, Semuc Champe, meaning where the river hides under the earth. In the Quechua Maya language, this site is a 300-meter-long natural limestone bridge that spans the Cahabon River, while the powerful river thunders through a subterranean cavern below. A series of stepped turquoise pools sit serenely on top of the stone bridge. The water in these pools is filtered through the limestone, resulting in a clarity that is almost hypnotic. Each pool overflows into the next in a series of gentle cascades surrounded by high canyon walls draped in dense tropical foliage. This area is a prime example of karst topography, where slightly acidic rainwater has, over millions of years, dissolved the soluble bedrock to create a Swiss cheese landscape of sinkholes, towers, and vast cave systems. Nearby, the Lanquin Caves serve as a massive cathedral of stalactites and stalagmites, playing host to thousands of bats that emerge at dusk in a swirling, living ribbon of black against the sunset. The humidity here is nearly absolute, supporting a specialized ecosystem of ferns and moisture-loving insects that thrive in the permanent twilight of the canyon floor. As one moves north toward the Mexican border, the vertical drama of the mountains flattens into the vast, rolling limestone plain of the Petén. This is the largest remaining tract of tropical forest in Central America, often referred to as the green lung of the region. It is a dense, multi-layered world where the sunlight rarely touches the forest floor. The Maya Biosphere Reserve covers more than 2 million hectares, protecting a staggering array of wildlife. The canopy is dominated by the giants of the jungle, the mahogany, the Spanish cedar, and the sacred ceiba, the national tree of Guatemala, which can reach heights of 70 meters. These trees create a complex vertical habitat. In the upper strata, spider monkeys and howler monkeys navigate the branches with acrobatic ease, their guttural roars echoing for miles through the humid air. Beneath the canopy, the jungle is a place of stealth. This is the stronghold of the jaguar, Panthera onca, the apex predator of the Americas. Elusive and powerful, the jaguar is a keystone species whose presence indicates a healthy, intact ecosystem. They share these woods with ocelots, pumas, and the strange pig-like peccaries. The bird life in Petén is equally flamboyant. The scarlet macaw adds flashes of primary colors to the green expanse, while the ocellated turkey, with its metallic blue and gold feathers, stalks the clearings around the ancient ruins of Tikal. The relationship between the ancient Maya ruins and the nature of Petén is symbiotic. The stone structures now serve as artificial cliffs for nesting raptors, while the forest protects the history buried beneath its roots. Guatemala is a land of two coasts, each with a distinct biological personality. To the west lies the Pacific coast, a world of fierce sun and volcanic black sand. The beaches here, such as Monte Rico, are formed from the erosion of volcanic rock, creating a striking dark landscape that absorbs the heat of the day. This coastline is a critical nesting ground for the olive ridley and leatherback sea turtles. The mangrove estuaries behind the beaches act as vital nurseries for marine life. These walking trees with their tangled prop roots trap sediment and provide a sheltered environment for juvenile fish, crustaceans, and a variety of herons and kingfishers. To the east, the Caribbean coast offers a completely different atmosphere, centered around the town of Livingston and the Rio Dulce. This is a world of limestone canyons and lush riverine jungle. The Rio Dulce, Sweet River, flows from Lake Isabel through a spectacular gorge with walls rising 100 meters high, covered in hanging vines and bromeliads. These waters are the haunt of the West Indian manatee, a gentle aquatic giant that feeds on the abundant seagrasses. The Caribbean side is characterized by higher rainfall and a more classic tropical jungle feel, where the humidity of the sea meets the greenery of the land in a seamless emerald embrace. Finally, we must look to the northwest, to the Sierra de los Cuchumatanes, the highest non-volcanic mountain range in Central America. Rising to over 3,800 meters, this is a plateau of a different character entirely. The tropical heat is forgotten here, replaced by an alpine environment that feels more like the Scottish Highlands than the tropics. The landscape is one of vast, wind-swept grasslands, rocky outcrops, and stands of agave and ancient pines. The biodiversity here is highly specialized. Many species are endemic, meaning they are found nowhere else on Earth. This includes several species of lungless salamanders and high-altitude butterflies. The air is thin and crisp, and in the winter months, frost often blankets the ground. This roof of the world provides a stark, silent conclusion to the ecological journey of Guatemala, a reminder that this small country contains almost every climate and terrain imaginable within its borders. The nature of Guatemala is a masterpiece of evolutionary art, but it is one under constant pressure. Deforestation, climate change, and the expansion of agriculture threaten the delicate balance of the cloud forests and the Paytán jungle. However, the resilience of this land is mirrored in the passion of its protectors. From local communities managing sustainable forest concessions to international scientists studying the volcanic peaks, there is a concerted effort to ensure that the land of eternal spring does not lose its luster. Guatemala remains a place where the wild still feels truly wild, where you can stand on a 3,000-year-old pyramid and see nothing but green to the horizon, or watch the earth itself breathe fire against a starlit sky. It is a testament to the raw, unbridled power of the natural world, a sanctuary of biological wealth that continues to inspire awe in all who venture into its depths.